Today is nomination day in Jamaica. Bonnick's West Indian grocery owner arrested for fraud. The U.S. Supreme Court to hear whether Donald Trump is disqualified from the ballot. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments today in a historic challenge to Donald Trump's eligibility to appear on the ballot, thrusting the High Court into a spin as Colorado threatens to abruptly end the former president's campaign for a second term. The 9 justices being asked to dig into a case that lawyers representing 6 voters who challenge Trump eligibility will argue a post-Civil War insurrection ban in the 14th Amendment, which bars the front-runner for the GOP nomination from being on the ballot because of his actions leading up to the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Taking part in an insurrection bars you from taking part in any election in the country. Of the 9 judges, however, there are 6 Republicans and 3 Democrats, so don't get your hopes up. Laws in any country applies mostly for poor people. In Jamaica, Senior Superintendent Michael Phipps, head of the Kingston Western Police, said that police personnel will be deployed throughout the division to prevent any clash between supporters of the candidates during today's nomination day exercise. The division has been experiencing a flare-up of gang violence over the past several weeks. SSP Phipps said that there will be a heavy deployment of members of the security forces to keep the peace. The police have said plans are fully in place for monitoring of nomination day activities across the entire island. And election day is February 26, and both parties said that they are ready to win the election. However, there is one drawback. The drawback is that people in Jamaica are not interested to vote anymore. A woman who was reportedly a part of a group of people who attacked a couple and set their house on fire in Cottage Road in Westmoreland have now been charged. Charged with arson is 59-year-old Venola Forrest, otherwise called Sister, a shopkeeper of Alma District in Grange Hill in the parish. Reports from the Savlamar police are that about 10 p.m. on Tuesday, January 23rd, a man and a woman were outside their home when 2 vehicles drove up and stopped. A group of men alighted from the vehicles and started throwing stones at them. In a bid to escape injury, the couple ran into the house and the attackers left, but they later returned with Forrest. This time they entered the couple's house where they smashed windows, destroyed several pieces of furniture, and then set the house on fire, resulting in damage amounting to $12 million. A report was later made to the police and Forrest was taken into custody later the same day. She was charged after she was pointed out in an identification parade. And you can see that them people are bad for real. A Jamaican woman residing in Canada appeared before a senior parish judge on Tuesday, facing accusation of obtaining goods by fraud totaling over $3 million. The woman has been identified as Jodianne Bonnick Anderson and is to answer to fraud charges leveled against her in the St. Andrew Parish Court. The court heard that over time, Bonnick Anderson, under the guise of operating a West Indian store in Canada, incurred a debt of over $3 million from the complainant by allegedly falsely representing herself as the owner of Bonnick West Indian grocery store, contrary to Section 36 of the Larceny Act. The complainant, a small business owner, reportedly extended credit to the accused woman with the hope that the money owed would be repaid. However, payment was not forthcoming. Bonnick Anderson was detained by police at the Norman Manley International Airport upon her arrival in the country on Monday, and the Crown opposed bail, citing her dual citizenship as evidence of a potential flight risk. Furthermore, the investigating officer noted that several additional individuals have now come forward to file complaints against Bonnick Anderson, with expectations of more cases being brought before the court. Bonnick West Indian Grocery is a very popular store in Canada, and since 2022 we saw videos and clippings of people complaining that she was writing them bounce checks. And you can find this saga on YouTube. The postings are still there. A St. Anne Parish judge has given the police until Friday to charge or release 3 policemen and 5 civilians implicated into the fatal shooting of a man at a Mother's fast food restaurant on Main Street in Ocherias in St. Anne 2 weeks ago. Attorney Donovan Collins, who is representing 2 of the policemen and civilian in the case, filed a writ in the St. Anne's Parish Court on Tuesday demanding that the men be charged or released. He argued that the policemen and civilians have been in custody without charge since January 27. The policemen, it said, along with 5 civilians, are under investigations for the murder of 30-year-old Kajay Sims of Bartlestown in Glale in St. Mary. Mr. Sims was gunned down inside the popular fast food restaurant during a brawl with a group of men on January 27, and it's reported that Mr. Sims and his friend got into a dispute with a group of men which became physical, and it's alleged that he used a knife to slash 2 of the men. Investigators said one of the men went outside, returned with a firearm, and shot Mr. Sims in the chest. The group of men then fled the scene in a convoy of 4 vehicles to St. James. Sims was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead, and investigators arrested the policemen and the civilians after reviewing CCTV footage inside the restaurant. However, one man who is said to be the shooter still remains at large. A taxi operator has been charged for his role in the alleged robbery of a grocery store and the injury of a man who was reportedly shot in the chest in Clapham District, Monaghan, St. Anne on Thursday, January 25th. Charges 24-year-old Rajesh Brown of Great Pond, Ocherius in the parish. He's charged with wounding with intent, robbery with aggravation, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a prohibited weapon to commit a felony. Reports are that Brown and another man, both armed with handguns, entered a grocery shop and opened gunfire at the operators, one of whom received gunshot wounds to the chest. The men then robbed the grocery store operators of one Samsung cellular telephone valued at $35,000, and they also took $5,000 in cash. The injured man was taken to hospital where he was treated and admitted in serious condition. On Wednesday, January 31st, Brown was arrested by the police, and on Saturday, February 3rd, he gave a caution statement confessing to the crime. On Monday, Brown was pointed out during an identification parade, and he was later charged. On to sports, we're going to do some cricket. The West Indies were on the wrong end of history as they went down by 8 wickets to Australia in the third one-day international on Tuesday in Canberra to lose the series 3-0. The hosts won with 43.1 overs to spare, making it the shortest completed one-day international played in Australia. Xavier Bartlett took 4 for 21 for Australia as the Caribbean team collapsed from 38 for 1 to 86 all out. And that's just like a schoolboy team. Australia then raced to 87 runs and lost only 2 wickets inside 7 overs. Meanwhile, Jamaica and former Arnett Gardens forward Kimani Arboni is back in Jamaica, ready to resume playing in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League once again after returning from Tanzania, according to his agent Damon Presley. The 26-year-old forward had left to take up a contract in the African country in late December, noting that the move was neither a trial nor a contract. Presley also confirmed that Airborne is now on the hunt for a new club as he's no longer registered as an Arnett Gardens player. He had scored 5 goals for Arnett Gardens before leaving for the continent. He last played for Arnett on December 27, where he also scored in a 2-0 win over Mount Pleasant. And you can see Jamaicans love to travel all over the place to represent sports teams in various sports, but mostly those teams and contracts makes absolutely no sense. But you can't tell them that they're wasting time and they would be better off staying in Jamaica and playing in Jamaica. If you tell them that, they probably would say that you're bad mind. So make them go on and see for themselves. I knew this was a bad decision to go to Tanzania and even wrote an article. I just didn't publish it. Don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this radio station. If you ever missed the news, please go to YouTube, type in Jamerican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's going to be news and sports on your favorite radio station. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.